Alzheimer's is an increasing problem in our society. Now, I'm holding in my hand a book titled Living with Alzheimer's, a love story written by Robin Thompson. Robin, what motivated you to write the book?
Well, when my wife Shoko was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, actually 8 years ago now, we had no clue what lay ahead. It was not too difficult at first, but when things became worse later on, we were really struggling. We just didn't know what was happening to us. We don't know where to look for help and support. And at that time, I thought it would be good to share some of our experience with other people because it would perhaps help them to avoid the difficulties that we faced, some of them.
Now, from your book, I realized that it took you actually quite a long time to begin to get the process of medical investigation started. What was it that slowed you down?
Actually, we went fairly quickly to the doctor, and because once Shoko had begun repeating things, I knew that was a signal, and so I went to the doctor. We got quite a quick diagnosis, but after that things moved very slowly, and we didn't take much action after that because things seemed to be going quite slowly.
And before we go there, what was Shoko's reaction when she first got the diagnosis?
Actually, she didn't have much reaction. I don't think she really realized what was going on.
And what was your reaction when you heard the reaction?
Well, a kind of numbness, I suppose. My father had had something like that 25 years earlier, so we knew a little bit about it, but we really had no clue. And it was a kind of numbness, I think.
Yes. Now, it seems to me that life is often a pendulum swing between racing to deal with problems, either out of excitement or out of a sense of duty, and wanting to avoid problems. How did that pendulum swing affect you going into the treatment and then as the disease progressed?
Well, I think at the beginning we were just not hoping it would go away. We knew it was not going to go away, but hoping somehow we'll just carry on. So we were not avoiding, but moving very slowly. But later, when things became much more difficult, Shoko had difficulty sleeping and she couldn't really handle her daily life. Then it was a real struggle. Then we were just floundering and looking, where can we get help?
Yes.
Obviously, the short-term memory loss is an obvious sign, not for everybody, of Alzheimer's or other kinds of dementias. And that was fairly stable, but soon after the diagnosis, Shoko began becoming, you could say, paranoid about things being stolen from the house. She was always worried about this missing and that missing, counting the mugs, counting the cushions. It was very difficult, and I didn't realize this actually a sign. It could be one of the effects of the brain being damaged. And so if I'd known that beforehand, I could have responded much more patiently with much more understanding. And I think other things, the other parts of the brain are affected, planning, skills that she used to have. She was wonderful with her sewing machine, cooking. She could do anything in the kitchen. And slowly those skills began to disappear, which was very distressing to watch.
But you needed help as well. How long did it take you before you realized that you needed help?
Well, it was when I realized that she couldn't manage her day and I had to, in a sense, guide her through the day. And then when she couldn't sleep at night and I couldn't sleep, we went to visit a friend and she said, "You need help." And I realized, yeah, we need help. She said, "You've got to find your team and build up your support."
Yes. And why was it that it took you so long to recognize your need of help? Because it's only when you visited the friend and the friend said that it kind of clicked, right?
I think you just keep going. You think, well, I just keep going and try to do things as much as I can and not realize that actually I can't do this by myself.
Yes.
It's a very lonely business, and
Yes.
none of us can do it by ourselves. We need help. We need support.
And what did you find helped you most in terms of building up your team and in terms of the help that the team offered you? What was it that helped you most?
Well, there were friends like the friend I just mentioned and other from our church and our family who came to visit and who were very sympathetic and understanding. And then we recruited a carer who came to come and just spend time with Shoko. And that was great. But it was very difficult because she didn't need any physical help. And we thought, when somebody came and she said, "Well, I don't need any help, why has she come?" And it took 2 or 3 people, shall we say, until finally they clicked and she found this person is good, I can spend time with this person. That was a great help to us.
And what did that person do that helped Shoko most?
She chatted with her, she talked to her, she asked her questions, she sang with her. Music was something that Shoko loved, and they sang together. And then she got Shoko playing the piano again because she had stopped playing the piano, and so they just spent time. And she was great. She would ask her and Shoko would talk to her all kinds of things about her life and her story. Not always very accurate, but they were enjoying it.
You said that when you first heard the diagnosis, you felt quite numb. And I'm sure this is true for many people when they hear such a diagnosis. Do you think there are things people can do to prepare themselves so that at the first sign of these kinds of problems arising, they're better equipped to respond more effectively?
Well, we can never prepare ourselves for what's going to happen to us, but I think if one does find something like short-term memory loss, it's very good then to follow up and consult the doctors and get a diagnosis, if that's right. I think then, as I said, we didn't do very much at the beginning, but I think what I would say to anybody is build up your support team. You're going to need it. So find friends and family members and get their support. And among the professionals, look for somebody who you can talk to, who can really give you that, who will be able to listen to you, talk to you about what's happening to you now, what is likely to happen in the coming years, what kind of support you can get. Somebody you can, and who is medically authoritative, but also who's relational to you. Now, we found that person in the end. I would say to everybody, look for that kind of person, look for that team that will support you. And hopefully, if the new government does its work, the social care system will change. And I think that has to be a key part of any care for all of us, but especially for the older generation, of which we're part. We were very fortunate in the support that we got, but I don't know, in our society where people are increasingly on their own, how do people manage if they don't have family or friends who can support them? It's very, very difficult.
So individualism will actually worsen the problem going forward, because as people are more and more individualistic, they have fewer and fewer friends, fewer and fewer relationships, and therefore it will become increasingly difficult, not just for them, but of course for society as a whole.
That's right, and that's why we have to find ways of providing that personal and relational support that will be able to link to people and then follow them up as they need to.
Now, Robin, you've written this book. What do you hope that readers will most take away from the book?
What struck me was that we'd gone through this bewildering experience. Is there a way we can help other people to understand something of that and share with themselves our experience so they can learn from it? Other caregivers, family, friends of people who are affected by Alzheimer's or other kinds of dementia. So that's a primary purpose. Alzheimer's is a fearsome disease and very distressing. But what I learned is we don't need to be afraid. Particularly, we don't need to be afraid of the person, because he or she, they're still a person, and what's the most important thing is we go on loving them, we go on relating to them with warmth and attention, and that's the most important thing we can do.
But very difficult, increasingly difficult.
It can be difficult, yes, but what I found is that I was so blessed, because in Shoko's case, once or twice she did get confused, but she knew me right to the very end. And I was very conscious of her love for me, and that was so powerful. The other thing I think that I'd like to share is that friends are so important, and we need to, many of us have either people we know or even relatives who are affected by dementia. We have a responsibility and an opportunity to go on supporting them. It can be difficult sometimes, frustrating. The person doesn't know me, but actually it's very rewarding, and they may not know us, but they experience our affection, our love, and so it's very important for friends to keep on being friends. Friends don't give up, they don't stay away, they keep going.
As we are living in England, where there's a national health system, this obviously provides a certain level of support. Did you find that the support system from the state and the institutions worked out well for you?
Well, the medical care was very good, but the doctor said, well, this is the diagnosis, this is what we can do for you. Anything practical, you need to go to the Alzheimer Society, they said. So medical and social care were separate. Then within the social care, there were so many different possible places to go to, and we think, who is there who can really help us? It wasn't joined up. Finally, we found in our case, it was the community dementia care team, and the person in charge was so brilliant because he was medically qualified, he was warm and personal, he was accessible. I could phone him or email him at any time. So we felt this joined up support of a team that really cared for us was wonderful. But it's not the case everywhere. And I think if there's one change we'd like to see in our social care system, there are many changes needed. We need to build up these kind of teams that will really focus on any older person and be there to support them, whatever may be the case. Personal, focused care with continuity.
Your book, obviously, we hope will do very well, and we hope will be of help to very many people. What are the kinds of things you think other people can do to make your book better known and useful to others?
Well, I hope if people read it, they'll like to share it with somebody else and say this is a good book, and maybe pass it. There are so many people who have links with people with Alzheimer's or other kinds of dementia. Maybe put a review on Amazon or something, and share on Facebook or whatever it may be. I think the more we can share because I think what I've tried to say, I hope will be helpful to other people. There's also listed some of the resources that we found helpful, some of the books and other resources that were useful to us, and what was helpful there. So I hope that would be useful to other people as well.